What happens if you skip ice and water shield on a roof installation? After 30 years of roofing in New Jersey, I've torn off hundreds of roofs where contractors cut this corner. Almost every single one had water damage the homeowner never saw coming. The membrane costs less than 3% of your total roof investment, but it's the difference between a roof that protects your home and one that becomes a slow-motion insurance nightmare. Most homeowners think the shingles are what keeps water out. But Ice and Water Shield is the hidden defense system that actually stops leaks when shingles fail. Here's what you need to know about the roof over your head. If you're paying for quality shingles and proper installation, you probably assume your home is protected. But shingles are only designed to shed water when it flows downward. They were never built to stop water that's being forced backward underneath them by an ice dam or wind-driven rain. That's a completely different problem, and it needs a completely different solution. The black felt paper you see on most roofs is the traditional underlayment. It doesn't seal around nails. It's a secondary layer, but it isn't waterproof. If water gets past your shingles, felt paper will slow it down, but it won't stop it. Ice and Water Shield is different. It bonds to the deck and creates a watertight seal even when fasteners puncture right through it. That's the whole point of the material. The dangerous part is that leaks from missing Ice and Water Shield almost never show up right away. Water infiltrates slowly, travels along the rafters, and soaks into the insulation. By the time you finally see a stain on your ceiling, you've already got rot in the decking and mold growing in the wall cavity. And because the membrane is hidden under the shingles, you can't easily verify it's there once the job is done. When a roofer says,
"We can skip it to save money,"
he clearly doesn't understand the value that Ice and Water Shield provides. So if you're getting roof estimates, ask every contractor to break out the Ice and Water Shield as a written line item and have them specify the coverage area. Eaves, valleys, penetrations, and transitions. If they're vague about it or say, "We'll add it if needed," that's a warning sign. And don't accept, "We don't usually need it in this area," as an answer. New Jersey Building Code requires ice barrier protection on roof eaves in most jurisdictions. It's not just optional, and a contractor suggesting you skip it is suggesting you violate code. The $200 to $400 you save skipping Ice and Water Shield sets you up for $15,000 plus in concealed water damage repairs. A contractor who suggests skipping this will frame it as the smart move. It's optional. Most roofs don't need it. Save yourself a few $100s. That pitch hides the actual math. The membrane represents 2 to 3% of your total roof cost. The repair bill, when you skip it, can run 30 to 50 times higher. I tore off a roof just this past winter where the previous contractor had skipped Ice and Water Shield on the eaves and in the valleys. The homeowner had no idea. About 3 years in, they started seeing ceiling stains in the master bedroom. By the time they called us, the decking had rotted through in 2 sections. The insulation was soaked and moldy, and the drywall needed replacing in 3 rooms. Their original roof cost them $12,000, and they'd saved maybe $350 by skipping the membrane. The repair came to $16,500. This was a problem that never should have existed. It could have been avoided entirely if Ice and Water Shield was installed with the new roof. What makes this worse is the timing. Most homeowners don't discover the problem until years after installation. You think your roof is fine because you're not seeing leaks, but water is infiltrating slowly every time when it snows, every freeze-thaw cycle. Every heavy storm with wind-driven rain, the damage accumulates invisibly, and by the time you see evidence, you're past the contractor's warranty period. Most residential roofing warranties cover 1 to 5 years on workmanship, and the rot and mold tend to show up in years 3, 4, or 5. Even if you could prove the membrane was skipped, you're on your own. And the stakes aren't only financial. Mold growth from concealed moisture can affect your family's health. Chronic respiratory issues, allergies, and asthma complications are real consequences of hidden water intrusion. You're not just protecting your investment, you're protecting the people living in the house. That's why I tell every homeowner the same thing. If a roofer suggests cutting this corner, walk away. It's not a budget decision, it's a character reveal. A contractor willing to skip code-required protection to win your job on price is telling you exactly how they operate. New Jersey's freeze-thaw cycles and snow load make Ice and Water Shield non-negotiable. Contractors from warmer climates sometimes move into New Jersey and bring installation habits that don't account for our weather. They'll tell you,
"We never needed Ice and Water Shield down south,"
and assume the same standards carry over. But our winters create a specific failure mode that simply doesn't exist in climates without snow accumulation and freeze-thaw cycles. Let me explain exactly what happens in a New Jersey winter. Snow accumulates on your roof, and heat escaping from your attic melts the bottom layer of that snow. The meltwater runs down toward the eaves, but your eaves are cold because they hang over open air instead of heated living space. The water hits that cold edge and refreezes. Now you've got an ice dam. As more meltwater runs down and pools behind that dam, it backs up under the shingles, flowing backward, uphill, underneath your roofing material. Shingles are built to shed water flowing down. They have no defense against water being forced backward into the laps and seams from below. Without ice and water shields sealing the deck, that backed up water infiltrates through nail holes and felt paper and into your roof deck. It soaks into the wood, drips into the insulation, and travels along the rafters into your wall cavities. And because it's the middle of winter, you may not see any interior evidence until the spring thaw, when everything warms up and the moisture finally shows up as stains. By then, the damage has been building for months. The freeze-thaw cycle is what makes it so destructive. Water infiltrates the deck, then freezes and expands, then thaws and infiltrates deeper. Each cycle pushes the damage further. So by the time you catch it, the decking isn't just damp, it's structurally compromised. And you don't even need snow for this to happen. Wind-driven rain creates the same problem. New Jersey gets nor'easters, tropical storm remnants, and severe thunderstorms with horizontal rain that pushes water sideways under shingles at roof-to-wall transitions, around chimneys, and into valleys. The membrane is what stops that sideways-driven moisture from reaching your deck. The key thing to understand is that building codes in New Jersey exist because of our climate. The requirement for ice and water protection at the eaves isn't arbitrary. It's engineered around the exact failure modes our weather creates. When a contractor suggests skipping it, they're ignoring the conditions your roof will actually face. If you live in New Jersey, ice and water shield isn't optional. It's the baseline standard for proper installation, and any estimate that leaves it out is incomplete. Ice and water shield must cover 3 critical zones: eaves, valleys, and penetrations, or you're still vulnerable. Some contractors will install ice and water shield at the eaves but skip valleys to trim the cost. They'll tell you,
We gave you the membrane where code requires it.
but code minimums are designed to prevent the worst failures, not to give you complete protection. The 3 zones where water intrusion is most likely all need coverage, or you've just moved the weak point somewhere else. Eaves are the most obvious vulnerability. That's where ice dams form, where snow sits longest, where the cold overhang meets your heated interior. New Jersey code requires ice barrier protection at the eaves, typically extending 24 inches inside the interior wall line. That's the minimum. On low-slope roofs or homes with thin attic insulation, we extend it further. But the eaves are only one of 3 places where water concentrates. Valleys are where 2 roof planes meet and water gets funneled together. Every drop hitting either plane runs into that valley, which makes it the highest volume water flow on your entire roof. If there's any weakness in the valley flashing or the shingle work, water will find it. Ice and water shield under the valley gives you a sealed backup layer for the moment the primary system gets overwhelmed. Then you've got the penetrations: chimneys, plumbing vents, skylights, and roof-to-wall transitions. These are places where you've literally cut holes in the deck and flashed around them. Even perfectly installed flashing develops gaps over time as materials expand and contract. The membrane seals around those penetrations so that if flashing pulls away slightly, you're not immediately getting a leak. This is where homeowners get fooled. I've seen roofs where the contractor put membrane at the eaves to satisfy code, then used standard underlayment in the valleys and around the chimneys. The homeowner believed they had full protection because we used ice and water shield. They never realized it was covering maybe 30% of the vulnerable areas. So when the leak finally happens, and it will, it shows up in the valley or around the chimney. The homeowner calls the contractor who says,
We installed ice and water shield like we agreed.
technically true, but the leak is happening in exactly the spot where the membrane was never installed. So when you're reviewing estimates, don't just ask,
Does this include ice and water shield?
ask where it's going. Eaves? How far up? Valleys? Full length? Which penetrations? Get the coverage area in writing. And if a roofer tells you,
We'll add membrane where needed as we go.
that's not acceptable. You need the scope defined before work starts so you can actually verify it. Once the shingles go on, you can't easily see what's underneath. Skipping ice and water shield can void your shingle warranty, create code violations, and complicate insurance claims. Most homeowners focus on the shingle warranty when they choose materials. They think, these shingles are warranted for 30 years, so I'm covered. But shingle manufacturer warranties come with installation requirements. If the roof wasn't installed to their specifications, which include ice and water shield in certain applications, the warranty is void. You paid for lifetime shingles, but you don't actually have coverage. Shingle manufacturers spell out their installation requirements right in the warranty documents. For most premium architectural shingles, those requirements include ice and water shield at the eaves, valleys, and other vulnerable areas. So if you file a warranty claim for premature shingle failure and the manufacturer inspects and finds no membrane where it was required, they deny the claim. It doesn't matter if the shingles themselves were defective. Improper installation voids the coverage. Building code is the second issue. New Jersey adopted the International Residential Code, which requires ice barrier protection anywhere ice dam damage is likely. That's not a suggestion, it's code. If your roof doesn't have it, your installation doesn't meet code, and that creates problems down the line. Whether you sell the house and the buyer's inspector flags it, or you file an insurance claim and the adjuster spots evidence of non-compliant work, and if your roof went on without the required ice and water shield and water infiltrated during a storm, the insurance company might argue the damage was preventable and isn't covered under your policy. You're paying premiums for coverage you might not actually have. So here's how you protect yourself. Before you hire anyone, verify the contractor is licensed, insured, and certified by a major shingle manufacturer, and ask for proof. A licensed, certified contractor knows the code requirements and the manufacturer specs, and they're not going to suggest skipping ice and water shield because they understand it creates liability for them and code violations for you. And after installation, ask for photos of the membrane taken before the shingles went on. Any reputable contractor documents their work. If they're resistant to handling over these photos, that tells you a lot about whether they actually installed what they said they. If you're replacing your roof in New Jersey, don't make a decision until you've had a professional inspection. Click the link below to schedule yours today. Subscribe for more homeowner-focused roofing education, and I'll see you in the next video.